Hello, Namaskar, welcome to my pod, the CAA Show. CAA is all of conversations and analysis. My name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch this show, all you have to do is to press that red button on your screen. Subscription is, of course, completely free, and would also really appreciate if you could like this video and share this video with your friends. All right, so Gen Z is in the news in a big way. There's the issue of the H-1B visas, as we all know. There's the issue of the tech industry. And sometime back, in not very complimentary terms, Gen Z was also in the news in terms of the unrest in Nepal, where the government was thrown by the Gen Z protesters. It's also been in the news earlier in Bangladesh. Now it was even in our part of the country, it was in news in Ladakh, where there are so many Gen Z protesters on the streets. So what's driving Gen Z? What is Gen Z all about? What is the terminology of Gen Z? In fact, I had a very funny thing today where I found out that Gen Z is the American version of saying Gen Z. It's actually Gen Z in British. So many questions, and to answer all that is again a very young, a very accomplished person today, and I'm lucky to have her on my show, Harleen Kaur. Harleen Kaur is an organizational and behavioral psychologist. She works with top corporates. She helps train leadership both at junior, middle, and senior levels, and also personal well-being. So, Harleen, welcome to the show. A lot on your plate. There are a lot of interesting things you do. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Juggi. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you about Gen Z. And I'm myself a Gen Z.
Yes, that's the idea of having you on the show, because a Gen Z person can only understand Gen Z. So fantastic. So let's kind of let's get the ball rolling. And the first question which really comes to my mind is that if you look at Gen Z today, all of you, the entire generation is growing up under the arc light, as it were, of smartphones, technology. Like the phones have become like almost like another human being, which is constantly, along with us. Our whole lives revolve around the phone. Then, in a very strange way, social activism, climate change is a big thing, I know, with Gen Z. Materialism, this is urgency, this desire to become rich very quickly, that's also a part of Gen Z. Now, if you think about it, Harleen, these are very contradictory things in themselves. Is this therefore what kind of this is my assessment of Gen Z, but first I want your reaction. That is this the right way to assess Gen Z, that it's a contradictory generation with all these impulses are forming what Gen Z is all about? What do you have to say to that?
So thank you for that question, Jackie. But the nuance where I just talk about Gen Z and how they are so rapid in this fast-paced world and how they just need that immediate gratification of needs, it comes from a root cause where, earlier in our generation, our parents, their needs were not met so quickly. But now, if we look at Gen Zs, their needs are quite fulfilled on a very early stage. Our parents used to spoon feed us, and most of our needs, it's just like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which we talk about, where physiological needs first comes in, then the safety needs, belonging needs, and so on, and coming on to the self-actualization bit. Our needs are mostly fulfilled. And, Gen Zs who are mostly connected, who are mostly tech savvy nowadays, they have this quick ways of, switching on from one app to the another, then fully consuming themselves into the social media. Basically, their role models are the social media influencers itself. And because of that immediate gratification of needs, I think we, as in millennials, they need to cope up with Gen Z and they need to understand their point of view as well. So I think there
Right.
is no hard and fast rule way to, go about it, how if it's right or if it's wrong. But I believe that they're redefining the roles.
So I don't know how I categorize. I'm 64 years old, so I don't know what category do I come in. It's the post or the pre-yuppie generation, I think. We were actually before that also, because you're right. When we were growing up, our biggest goals used to be either get into an IIT or in medicine. You actually couldn't
Yeah.
think beyond that. And somebody like an aberration Mandy who got into television long time ago, and people used to say, television, wo kya hota hai, matlab? Because we used to have good old Doordarshan in those days. So yeah, you're right. But the question which springs to mind is this a natural evolution of the human being? When you describe the evolution in terms of the concerns of Gen Z, is that naturally evoluting, or is there some kind of a mutational process taking place where this is an aberration which is going on right now?
I would say it's naturally evolving. We are evolving. Generation who are, now Gen Beta is there, and Gen Alpha is
Can,
also there.
sorry, can you
From
repeat that again? Gen what?
I'm saying that Gen Beta has come up now, and before that, Gen Alpha came up.
Okay.
So they are already so advanced, and when I am at the workplace, people who are at the age of 20 or 21, I see them, they are much more smarter than me. I am born in 2000, and I feel that I need to learn more from them. So it's more with the evolution bit, more how easily they are better able to catch the opportunities, and with opportunities comes the pressure as well.
So
Especially
technic
at workplace, I
right.
see them.
Yeah. So technically, the
Yeah.
generation is from 18 to 27. That's correct.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Maybe maximum 30. So 18 to 30 years. Okay.
exactly.
Okay. So you think this is naturally evolving. Now,
Yeah.
uh, what we'll do is we'll divide some of the questions first into what's really happening at the workplace, and then we can probably go on to the personal development, to the domestic side also. Now, there's
Wow.
something very significant happened some time back, a couple of years back, as we all know. That was post-COVID, or during the COVID time, when corporates, companies gave out the idea really was to work from home. And now what we are really seeing is that a large, not large, maybe a significant portion of the Gen Z is very reluctant to come back to work from offices. They're very comfortable working from home. Is that what is really happening? A, and B, is that a good development, or is it a development which concerns leadership in corporates?
Nice, nice that you asked. That I feel that this work from home has led to the demand of flexibility from the Gen Zs out there. They demand flexibility, they demand more inclusiveness, they want that others empathize with them. But personally, in my opinion, I feel that work from home might bring a lot of work, it might bring some kind of productivity. But talking about the behavioral aspect and talking about the way you need to create a bond with the leadership, the way you need to upskill yourself, that can only come when you work from an office. It
That
requires a lot of growth. Come out of your comfort zones as well. And I have personally seen that if I would have gotten an opportunity to work from home, maybe I might not take that, because I believe that, coming in office and meeting people around, learning from them, and learning team collaboration, team management, it actually brings a lot of new skills into you. So yeah.
So say so let's say you are, let's say, negotiating a product, or the price or a sale of a product, for instance, and it's one thing to, let's say, negotiate on a Zoom call, as what we are doing right now. We are on a Zoom call, but it's completely a different thing when you meet somebody face to face, and then the dynamics they are completely different. But if, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Gen Z resists that. They say no, we can, whatever we can do through technology. So that's a bit of a friction area, correct?
Exactly. They heavily rely on tech,
Yeah.
and that's the flip side. The coin has two sides. That's what the head and tails of it are. I feel on the positive side, yes, we are growing, we are fast paced, we are more tech savvy and everything, but people do lack behavioral skills. When I see people and clients of mine, when they have difficulty conversing with their own clients, I actually see that gap. And that gap can only be bridged when we are mentoring them better, when we are asking them to come to the office and work with other kinds of personality. It actually tells you a lot about yourself. It's like a mirror.
Yeah, but here's again the contradiction, because there are a lot of contradictions which I find in today's generation. You mentioned all these things which are absolutely correct, but at the same time, the communication abilities of a lot of the Gen Z is pretty good at one level. So, what would be the problem if, because see, it's like, how do I put it? When we were growing up as kids, we used to play in playgrounds. Okay, we did not play video games. We did not sit in front of a television monitor or a screen. We went out to the playgrounds. Um, what I find strange is that when I look at youngsters, I see, for instance, I do theater also. I act, and a lot of the people in my theater group, they're young people, and I interact with them. They communicate so well, but at the same time, this entire reluctance to be one to one. It's like the old days. You could not close a deal unless you were meeting somebody one to one. So that problem is there, right?
Yeah, that problem is there. And I think most of the people who are in theater, they are trained well. But
Yeah,
when I talk about
yeah.
the workplace bit, I see people, they only think in black and white. Either they'll have a conversation, either they'll not have a conversation. And even if they're having a conversation, they have so much difficulty negotiating because they don't know how to influence the other person. And to influence the other person, there comes the bit of empathy. First, you need to acknowledge, first, you need to know how to have a small talk. And I think this is where we lag. I've been seeing how Gen Zs are putting up leave applications out there, and somehow I feel that that needs to be rectified, that needs to be better. Yeah.
So you really have your work cut out, as they say. Okay, right. Now, just list for me the three big issues or the problems which you find when you're interacting. Because I'm not going to talk with you about the older leadership people and all that, because that's a different category altogether. Since we're only talking of Gen Z today, what do you think are the three big issues in your mind which you're encountering at the workplace?
Thanks. I really like that question. So what brings to my mind that if I jot down three issues where they are, struggling a lot. A, they don't know how to emotionally regulate themselves when they're handling stress at workplace. Most, what are your expectations from the management? Second is that they have a constant question, are they connected? Do they feel connected at the workplace they are in? Does it provide that environment or not? So they're finding that environment where they can be truly themselves and pitch in. Third would be the authenticity and the impact that they want to put in. Here, Gen Z, they are really advanced and they really want to create an impact wherever they go. And that's why whenever I meet other people around of my age, they're already trained in multiple skill set. One person might be knowing about sales, at the same point they might also be knowing how to code. So that's quite fascinating to me, and they really want to create an impact. These are the three problems that I feel that they are struggling with, and the workplace in itself is not providing that inclusive environment where they can be, accepted the way they want to be. Those are their needs, basically.
Let's talk a little bit about the third point which you mentioned. I didn't, not fully clear to me. What you are really saying is that it's like the old saying, masters of so many things, but specialists of none in a certain sense. You're saying that they
Yeah.
are acquiring skill sets in different domains, in different fields, but this entire razor sharp focus or laser focus on one particular area is missing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they are lacking purpose, and that's why they get disengaged very quickly. So once most of the Gen Zs nowadays, they don't even commit to a year in a workplace. They try to switch, and they already have a backup plan already in their mind what they
Right.
have to do. They already think that I just have to spend 1 year here at this workplace. At the same time, they have a backup option ready because they want to switch as soon as possible. Because of
Correct.
this rapid and immediate gratification of needs, they are trying to grow again and again, again and again. One milestone completed, let's hop on to the another. What's
Okay.
next? Hop on to the other, hop on to the other. So
So
they're just jumping.
is that because of monetary compensation? Because you are seeking, in a certain sense, more emoluments. You're seeking more money. You are seeking more ESOPs at the company levels, and that is that the real reason, or it's an emotionally dissatisfied state of being? What would be the real reason for that?
The thing is, these Gen Zs, although yes, monetary part is still there, they want more income and everything, but at the same time, in their mind, they already have set high standards from the workplace. They want flexibility, they want engagement, they want team building sessions and everything. But at the same time, Gen Zs have low tolerance, and when the high standards are not being met, and the low tolerance is also there, so they keep on
There's a
disengaging, and
mismatch.
there's a mismatch and they don't feel satisfied enough. There's a friction.
Right. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, talk to us a little bit, Harleen, about the duality. There's a huge duality which I've seen, which is occurring in this generation. See, and I mentioned about this earlier also, that at one level you have the sense of social activism. You have the sense of, and I think it's genuine also, climate change, environment. These are genuine concerns with this generation has, and at the same time this unchecked desire for making it big, quick, in the shortest possible period of time. And of course then you want to call it incubated businesses, you have startups or whatever you want to call it, all that. But there is a duality. The duality being that you can't be, in my mind, a social activist, an environmental activist, but at the same time you are a material seeker, also unabashed, unchecked to a certain extent. How do they reconcile both things?
I think it's more with the performance activism. It's like these Gen Zs, they are trying to fit into the narrative of the fast paced problems that are coming in. And just because they want to fit in, they will try to do everything on the social media presence that they want to. Let's say, for example, there's a movement and everyone is putting a black box on their DP. They'll try to do that, not knowing what's the agenda and what's the root cause of it. I think
Okay.
this is where they lack. This is where we just really need to
So
come ahead.
follow the trend, follow the herd. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which again begs the very important question, then who are the role models for this generation? It's a very important question, because I'll tell you why. Because when our generation was growing up, and you'll find this very funny what I'm going to tell you, our role models, uh, I was always interested in creative things. So my role model, all the writers I looked up to were not in this country but outside this country. So a lot of role models were outside the country, and I feel bad about it today when when I think about it. So who are the role models today for this generation? Are they influencers? Are they rock stars? Are they reality show artists? Are they movie stars? I don't think so. They could be politicians, I have my doubt. But who are the role models? It's a very important question, I think.
It's just the social media presence and the influencers out there. Whatever fits their narrative, it confirms their bias. Whatever confirms their bias, they just stick onto it.
Okay.
This is what is happening. And one influencer talking something that fits their narrative, they'll stick to that, they'll follow them, and they'll follow that trend as well, not knowing that there could be other aspects to it, there could be another perspective to it. So that's how they are modeling themselves up. And it's just we are misunderstood. Gen Zs are misunderstood in the sense, though we are very evolved enough and we are changing and we are redefining the roles. But I feel that to cater this problem, there's a framework that can go along, that can work better for them, for us as well, that has worked for me as well. It requires empathy, it requires you building a rapport with them, and at the same time putting a value, modeling the same behavior as you're desiring. At the workplace itself, if you feel that you can model the discipline, if you can model the emotional balance, and you can guide them and you know how you can regulate yourself emotionally when there's a stress, it can actually help the Gen Z's in long run.
Okay. Very specifically, for instance, women at the workplace. Uh, in your experience, younger women model themselves on older women managers, senior women managers, or that's not really the case? Just a specific question.
I think women are drawn with strong leadership where there is more independence. And yes, women in itself, they are drawn where a woman is at top and woman is projecting that leadership qualities and traits and that competencies. They're more drawn towards them and they learn and they get inspired as well.
Correct, correct. And the attendant question, of course, being that is the role model for them like single women or women who have families, who have kids. Um, the younger lot, who do they get inspired by?
As we are growing and as we are moving forward, I've been seeing women are getting more inspired with those who are conducting themselves individually, who have made and they have self-made themselves and who have carved their own niche and who are independently out there putting themselves out. I think they get more inspired by them who are more vocalized enough, who are more verbal about their thoughts.
Okay.
I feel that. Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, see, Harleen, I think till now we have talked about which is a little bit of the negative shade of the Gen Z. Let's talk about the positives also, because that's also very
Yeah.
important. Because every generation comes with its package, but it also comes with its very strong points also. What do you think are the three biggest strengths of the Gen Z generation, which are remarkable, which we haven't been seen earlier in human history?
I feel that we are quick learners. We adapt very quickly.
Okay.
And wherever there is a where there's an environment that is being provided which is more inclusive, which has, the basic needs that we need from an organization, we excel in that. We don't have any lack of innovative ideas. We bring in those ideas, and if we get the right environment, we do give them the ownership. Basically, it's just to bridge the gap. What we need is, mentorship. We need guidance. We need psychological safety. We need an inclusive environment. We want someone who can have faith in us, can empathize with us, and what we can offer are the innovative ideas, more resilience, and bringing more ownership at the workplace. I feel that.
Some would say that the concept of an empathetic within quotes workplace is a contradiction in terms. Do you agree with that? Can
Could
be.
you please repeat?
I
Could
said
you
some
please
would
repeat?
say that an empathetic workplace is a contradiction in terms. It can't be. It's cutthroat out in the workplace. So
I understand that we are dealing with a lot of competition. Earlier, our parents were not dealing with that much of competition, but nowadays, with so many exams, so many competitive exams, and so
yeah,
many reservations, and there are multiple people who are just fighting for that one, position out there,
yeah,
we are
yeah.
dealing with it. Trust me, we
That's
are
true.
dealing with a lot of stress, this pressure,
Yeah.
and pressure to exceed to a limit where we can outshine ourselves and we can bring something really good at the table. We really need to make an impact.
But also your generation has more choices also as compared to previous generation. In a strange way,
Yeah,
yes,
more
employment is the issue is of course very much there, but at the same time, the once a person, a skilled person, a person who is qualified, the choices are pretty immense for that kind of person in today's workplace.
yeah, more choices. They do bring a lot of frustration and confusion in the
They
mind of
bring
the others.
confusion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Now, you mentioned something very, very important. You said that they are quick learners. That certainly might be the case, but are they survivors also? You see, it's one thing to learn quickly or to adapt quickly to changing circumstances, but are you a good survivor? See, again, I'm in a strange way. I'm giving you the example of my generation, which is of course a very different and older generation, much older. Because at the end of the day, we grew in an atmosphere or an environment of scarcity. When the basic things were not there, everything used to be foreign return and foreign mal and, that kind of stuff, shirts coming from abroad and everything and TV sets and everything. We grew up in that time, in a time of great want and need. But this generation has had it all, seen it all. But does that make
Yeah.
them better survivors or not?
That brings me to a very good point. I've written a paper as well on this particular aspect that I can mention. I wrote a paper on generational trauma. So when I was interviewing people out there, I was interviewing the third generation, Gen Zs basically. And I realized, and I jotted down from the study itself, that first generation, who are our grandparents, they have seen, loss of their loved ones. They have seen 1984 riots. They have seen 1947 partition. They have seen a lot of things, and they have bounced back from it.
Yeah.
They have seen all. And talking about the parents, the second generation, who have
Right.
seen them struggling,
Yeah.
they have been instilled with a lot of fear,
Yeah.
and they have seen that their parents struggled a lot with that.
Right.
Coming on to the third generation, I feel we have not seen to that level. We have seen COVID, yes, we have seen COVID, and we have somehow bounced back from it. But I feel the first generation, our grandparents, were way, way, way more resilient than us. And we really need to match that level someday or the other.
Then how do you explain, for instance, like there are three, just list three events which, and give me your take on it. If you remember, there was a Kisan protest which happened some time back.
Yeah.
Then, of
Yeah.
course, then you had this Nepal thing which happened where the Gen Z was out on the streets.
Yeah.
Where is this anger, resentment, and let's not talk of politics because this is not a political discussion at all. This is purely, we are talking about a different dimension. But where does the anger, the bitterness, the cynicism of this generation really come from then?
I think when their safety is being compromised, safety in terms of when they feel that they are being caged, their needs and their checklist are not being ticked out, there's a lot of resentment, then there is a lot of restlessness out there, and they're becoming very impulsive as well.
Okay.
That again brings me to the point that whenever there's a stress coming up, they will rather put it under the carpet instead of facing it. I feel that they're not emotionally regulated enough to see and weigh down the pros and cons of the situation that could happen if they can take some adverse actions.
But I remember this conversation I had with you long, long back, where you had told me, I remember, that unlike the older generations, they are more open to things like counseling, to somebody sitting down with them and telling them where the problem is. They're a little more open than the previous generations. Is that true?
Yes, Gen Zs are more open. They are able to hear you out. They can understand. And again, once you open that outlet to let them express first, it's okay. Let the whatever emotions that they're feeling and whatever thoughts that they have, let
Yeah.
let them just put it out there in the raw form. So once that gate opens up, there's more room for guidance. There
There's
is
no problem.
more room for direction, and we can actually attune them for better pathways, I
But
feel
safe
so.
to say
And
they are far more open to new influences and new ideas and new thoughts.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, they are easily influenced, but it's all about having that right direction, who's giving that direction, whether it's basically what is happening is that if they're not able to seek an expert advice, they will seek external validation either from their peers or from the social media influencers who might not be the best people to
The best
advise.
people, yeah, correct. Okay, yeah, Harleen, I think my Zoom time is coming to an end. I didn't figure that out. We just got this thing, another 5 minutes left. So, a couple of quick questions then. We haven't talked too much about the personal space. But in terms of personal relationships, give me your quick answers about these things. Do you feel this generation is unable to foster long-term relationships? A, and just give me your briefly your thoughts about number one, partners, number two, sexual choices of this generation, and number three, on the marriage issue. Just give me a kind of your bird's eye view of these three or four issues.
Yes. Talking about the relationships, I think we are not able to sustain those long-term committed relationship nowadays. Reason being that both the partners have some different kind of needs. There's a polarity flip. That said, that one person is at the North Pole, the other person is at the South Pole, and if the needs are not met, they will seek it from other way around. There are tons of apps out there. There's Bumble, there's Tinder, there's so many apps, and they can just hover around and they can casually be wherever they want to be. They're exploring, they're experimenting. Because
Right.
there is no thrill and everything is monotonous, they try to explore in a better way.
Sure.
And commitment only brings about more efforts, more consistency, and maybe this is where Gen Z's are somewhere or the other, they really are not able to understand that concept. And that said, females, in fact, now there's a sense of realization and they are more aware about the fact that what they actually need. And that's why I think divorce rates are also getting higher up.
Yeah.
They are not able to sustain longer marriages and they are not able to fully get committed because they actually know what they need. They are valuing independence as compared to the codependency.
So marriages are becoming like, not sounding flippant, but like a car wreck now, in a certain sense.
Yeah, we can say that. And I think we really need to understand that two people work together with a lot of effort, consistency, and adjustments.
Yeah.
It's not only the individual aspects, not only the extremities of it.
Okay. So let's like can summarize the entire thing, both at the workplace and on the personal front. A time for change. Changes are happening very fast. They're literally happening by the day, by the hour. Literally, some would say, constantly evolving situation, dynamic situation. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, it's the fair submission, but I just want to have a little conclusion over this that we can really, really work well with Gen Z. Gen Zs are not the problem. No one is a problem here. It's
Correct.
just that we just need to be understood well. We need little empathy, little bonding, and it actually opens the gate for more guidance and better conversation. Once you do that, you can model the behavior in a better way. You can model discipline, you can model balance, you can actually have fun with Gen Zs as well.
Couldn't have said it on a more positive note, Harleen. And this is really a positive note to end this conversation on. Thank you so much for your insights into the Gen
Right.
Z. And best of luck for your endeavors in the future also. And as I say, best of luck to the Gen Z generation also. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
in today's
Thank
show.
you. Thank you for calling in. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Bye.